Good morning, everybody. Shall we start? Let's play some music. Please grab your kitten coffees and let's start in a few minutes. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Did somebody join us? Nobody? Like I'm just alone today? Oh, poor, sad, and alone. In any case, welcome to everybody who is here. I'm hoping you're going to have a really great Saturday. I hope you can hear me. So I'm going just to type it in case you don't hear me. So please, actually, I think I can see it here. Yeah, it looks like you are able to hear me. But I'm pretty sure you'll be complaining if you can't. So, where is my little baggie here? So we are doing transitioning messages for the Leo transit. So this is really interesting because Leo represents sun, and sun is the center of the zodiac, and we want to see how different signs will. What's going to shine, let's put it this way, on your areas of your life, because this is really time for things to be transparent, for things to be exposed, and that kind of sort of thing. I'm just putting my phone on mute, and I think I have all the tools, all the coffee. My kittens are growing bigger, and if you see them walking all over the place, walking everywhere, don't get disturbed. That's simply a situation where I live and how I lived. It's kind of cute, but it's a little bit overwhelming as well. So hopefully Barbie's going to join us, but in the meantime, I think we are right on time. In the meantime, can somebody just kind of like summarize the signs we are doing so that way newbies know? So we are going to start with Leo, and I'm going to put the next one on the side. Kylie, what is this? Is this a rhino? I'm just trying to figure out what's that sign. So let me just put a stamp first. Actually, let's put a little fluffy Leo sign. Happy birthday, Leo. Let's start with that. This is like exactly happening today. They're entering their passage, so it's gonna be interesting. Oh, here we go. We have the first visitation, and he likes to chase the the mouse on the screen. That's kind of like, this is Onyx, by the way. This is his thing. So I removed their collars, the fixing one, yesterday. So now they feel really, really free and really excited with everything. Except he usually comes and drinks my water that is on the table. And I think that's what he's trying to do right now. Oh, he just spilled something. Oh my gosh, it's so nice having a kitten. It's just like always creating some problems. Sorry, just give me a second. It spilled my Coke all over the table. And there's another one showing up. So hopefully they are going to get some energies. And it's really interesting the kittens are coming for Leo reading, because that is really telling me that there are going to be some kind of interruptions, that things are going to be really important, that you have to be kept on the toes of your feet of some sort, right? That would basically indicate to me. All right, I cleaned the mess. Let's remove the Coke so they cannot go into that trouble again. What did you do? What did you do, huh? What did you do? I don't know. Can you see him at all? So, hello, Kelsey. Welcome. Oh, you can see his little head. And I can see just from under the monitor, there is like a peeking face of Jasper, who is coming around and becoming a little bit more, let's say, intrigued with everything that is really happening with me. So, let's start. Oh, did I put the stamp? I did. Hello? Hello, madame. You want to say hi? Come here. Can I see her? No, she's just going right to the window, to her position. And let's do it. Leo, can you please tell me for the Leo Sun transition what I need to know? So this is monthly. So there's like, oh, she's getting slaps from Matrix, my older black kitty. He's like not happy with kittens taking like him in space in the place, but he slapped her and then he is leaving. So I am taking 4 cards for the monthlies versus 3 cards for otherwise that I'm doing, and I'm going to be using Gypsy deck to clarify. Oh boy, this is so weird, guys. Look at that. So we have Pentacles. Pentacles are always talking about finding equilibrium. For you, that equilibrium, it looks like things are going up and down for you. It's finding it in making sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, right? There's like something here that is going to be really important. There's like some kind of celebration, Leos, that I'm seeing over here. And 9 of Cups is like self-satisfaction, where you definitely are not, you're kind of alone in a situation. You don't want anybody. You don't need anybody. Kind of like they're like weird things happening there. Okay, am I having this in the right spot here that we can see it? But 7 of Swords is always a warning sign. When we do have 7 of Swords, maybe I could put it this way. It's easier when I put these cards on. 7 of Swords is always about somebody taking what they think is theirs. Somebody, and you can, like, and this is like usually about the disputes. It can be property disputes. It can be interpersonal relationship disputes at work. It can be family inheritance disputes, kind of a thing. Because look at here, like 9 to me is always the boundary. I always look as 9s almost like the bookends. So 9 would then like denote this is the end of the sentence and we are starting a new sentence, kind of a thing, right? So what do we have before 9? We have 2. So there's like some healing, or there are like some karmic messages coming through. And what are they? 7 and 8, 15, the devil. So there are like some issues of codependency. There are some issues of somebody running the show, somebody telling you what needs to be done, how it should be done. So it's kind of weird because they're almost taking you off your throne over here. Because the 9 of Cups is telling me kind of like we're juggling stuff, or somebody was juggling something. Maybe you had lots of obligations. Maybe you had lots of things. Maybe you have somebody in your life who was quote unquote juggling, and kind of like maybe you had enough of that. And but I'm seeing you coming through as a happy person. So if this means becoming solo from a relationship, or maybe somebody had, I guess somebody didn't have you as that lioness or that lion. You were not the most important part over here. And I can see this part is a karmic lesson here. But you're feeling okay with that. Usually when this card shows up, that usually tells me that it is you who is making the decision. It is you who is deciding, like, this is how things will work. This is how things will go. But then right after that, it's almost like that's a little bit of yo-yo. And that's the codependency gateway, as I call it, right? Nobody becomes codependent. Like, nobody goes and, oh, I am just going to feel very sensitized to the things, and, and I'm going to believe to this gaslighting, and I'm going to feel bad. No, it just kind of happens over time. But it also, some people are really more predisposed to it. Like, many of us had relationships that went really, really bad. And you know what they say, like, once burned, twice shy. And to me, that's the gateway for codependency, because when we have this baggage of being cheated in the past or something happened, we are like more alert, like when similar situation raises red flags. And this clearly is some kind of red flag. And because it's the devil, and devil is also earth, connecting to earth, it could be something with money, could be something with property, or could be somebody luring you into doing something that might have consequences in the future. So that's kind of like where I can see there could be some, let's say, some kind of like difficulties. So also keep in mind, for everybody who is here, and welcome everybody, just keep in mind that this reading affects every single sign. Hello, Barbie. Barbie showed up. Just keep this in mind, that every single person here, this is going for all of us, because this is the sun transit. That's why I always do like this sign, it is going to sun transit first, because this reading affects us. In addition, if you have a sun Leo or moon Leo, or ascendant Leo, it's also very, very prominent in your chart. I am not formally trained astrologer. I read astrology charts differently, and nobody's going to tell me that there is a science, right? Because I did read through all of that science. It's not that I didn't, of course. I'm not going to say, oh, the science doesn't work and just listen to me. No, I did check all of it, and I did see what makes sense. I am also seeing what it doesn't make sense. And part of things that didn't make sense to me is like how the houses are interpreted, and how basically people are like creating like this kind of like future occurrences, right? So one of those things is like simply how the planets are interpreted. For me, just looking celestially, right? Celestially, Earth is here. So we have a Venus on one side, we have Mars on the other side, and we have a moon. So these are, to me, the closest planets to us. And sure enough, they can be on the other side of their ellipse and whatnot, but they're still closer than, let's say, Jupiter or something else. So when I'm interpreting things, I'm always looking for Venus and Mars, because Venus is our feminine principle, Mars is our masculine principle. So Venus is going to be who you really are as a person, how you're going to want to receive love, what is important to you. So you can be, let's say, earth sign, and for earth sign they will tell you, and usually Venus always goes 2 signs down and 2 signs up. So let's say if you're a Virgo, you would have what is before Cancer or Leo. You may have a Virgo, but you can also have what is Libra and Scorpio. So this is basically the all that can be there. You cannot be Venus in Aquarius if you're Virgo, because it just goes 2 signs, and that's because of that spin. So me, I don't know how many you know, I have a degree in mathematics. I'm very kind of pragmatic when it comes to kind of like analysis of the numbers, and that's how I look at it. So, and Mars principle is pretty much what you are looking for in a partner. So that's why when you meet somebody else, I always look for Mars. Oh, this person has Mars in Aries. Holy moly, he wants his partner to be aggressive. He wants me to make a move, that sort of thing. So let's see. Oh, Ikad has a birthday. Oh, happy birthday, happy upcoming birthday. So Leo. Let's see, because this reading also, first one, if you notice, is always longer because it's setting the stage. I want to see this 7 of Swords. So you have melancholy and you have a baby. And the first thought that came to my mind is like a loss of baby, right? Because she's sad over the baby. But it can be postpartum depression of a sort. And I'm not saying that this is what you are having, this is what you're going through. But this is explaining this card over here. So I don't know, it's maybe talking about so you're going from the high, you're going to down. So there's like clearly something that is triggering you guys. That what I was telling, codependency, is now clearly evident. So what is melancholy? Many people are not familiar with the word or with the concept. Like, you all heard of depression, and depression is medical disease and you're diagnosed. But melancholy is something that comes before, that is like, prequel of depression, if you wish, right? It's like literally that, what I was explaining here, codependence is, you can see cards always double down, they don't lie. So that would be dwelling on mistakes or dwelling on disappointments. So yeah, it could be something leading to depression, or you're upset, there is some kind of grief, there's like some kind of regrets. So is this a regret that you didn't start something new, that something is not going in direction? Because the child would mean usually something positive, but it is qualifying this card. So you maybe wanted a child, maybe you want some new affair, new beginning, new business. Because if you really think about it, this is showing this solitary woman. She's sitting on a bench, right? It's like one of those benches. I just love the design of these benches, by the way. But I digress, right? So behind her, look at the tree behind her. It's almost bare, right? And if you really look at it, the leaves are falling on the ground, right? So it's kind of like showing that vulnerability, if you wish, right? That any wind coming your way is going to kind of like push you, going to bend to that wind's direction, right? And she's also wearing that shawl around her shoulders, and that is kind of like symbolizing her memories that she's kind of wrapped in. She needs that cushy, warm space for her, which is really, really important, right? So I would say here there's like some kind of like regret or some kind of like resignation, or maybe there's a sacrifice you're making right now, but it's also trying to find some strength. So almost like you're maybe separating with somebody and now you're like trying to find your footing, if you wish. So there is like this pickup with the child. There's like something like needs to be picked up. You need to do it. I also need to, because this is connecting to the past, I think you need to think about things that happened somewhere in the middle of May. This is somehow relating, possibly, very likely actually, to a situation that was May 15 plus minus, let's say 5 days. It was like something that maybe had seeds, and this is now coming to the surface. And you're finding this balance. You're coming down with this 8 of Pentacles, which is like, you're sorting things out, you're filing things out, and this is how you're finding solace with organization of some sort. And this is kind of like making you process things. But it's a very positive card, though. It's kind of culmination of satisfaction. So there's like something really good and something really interesting happening over here. So Leo, you are landing back on your feet, but it's going to be a rough period somewhere. And I would also say around the 15th of August. That's between 9 and the 15th of August. Something will be fly in your ointment or fly in your wine, kind of like a thing, as that song goes. So, but you're going to do well. You're after all a Leo, and you after all are going through your sun transit, and this is always helpful. This is almost like having a wind in your back. So it does expose, it does make things very transparent, but it also helps clear the problems, right? So all these leaves falling on the ground are now swept everywhere, like you're like standing that barely exposed, but you are having that security or something. So maybe you have dealt with similar problems in the past, and you already know the tools, you already have information how to deal with that, and now you're dealing with that. So, well, everybody new, welcome to the Saturdays, or the mods that we didn't see in a while. Welcome, welcome. So guys, you can guess which one this is. I'm going to remove this Leo, and we are going to see which one is coming next. You know, you get your card drawn, if you guess. So I know I'm a little bit delayed, so I'm going to wait for you. And in the meantime, oh, I need to find the deck for that. And I need to just shuffle this deck a little bit. Where are my crystals? I can put a crystal on it. And let me get another deck for you here. If anybody guesses. Okay, we have a Scorpio, we have Aquarius. I'm going to use the pre-Raphaelite. I love this deck. 2 Pisces, Aquarius. Okay. Let's see. Did I get all of these cards? Did I? I did. And let's see what this is. I think I have enough. We are missing Chris. And did anybody guess Gemini? No, I don't think I have Gemini. Sorry, guys. Better luck next time. But I'm going to draw the next one for the following draw. So I'm going to put it here. And that's a deck for this. And let's go Gemini. Put your little fluffy icon here. And please remind me if I forget any of that. It's much easier for the people coming and viewing this later. I do put the timestamps, but they are not exact because what I see is a little bit different from what you see. When Barbie was doing it, it was absolutely exact. But then YouTube started screwing that up and she couldn't post it anymore. It just became a nightmare. Hello, Nell. Welcome. So that's a Cancer over here from what I see. Who else? We have an ECAT. And all is like, I mean, usual suspects are here. Joanna, hello. So let's go. Let's go. Gemini. 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 Yeah, guys, you can start guessing. If you don't have much of the Gemini in your chart, like you can already start putting whatever the sign you're guessing. Whenever Barbie puts sign like she did Gemini, anything that comes under until I start to shuffle again, it can be a guess. Okay, let's put it this way. I want one more. Ouch, Gemini. Ouch, ouch, ouch. What's que pasa over here? Gemini, so you are like air sign, you have 3 air signs. So you're all in your head. You are a little bit exhausted. You're a little bit collapsing. There are certain things happening. Look at this, like wounded warrior. But he's still wagging his wand. He's still striking. He's still doing it. The only difference here is that when we have 9, as I told you, this is like a bookend. This is like the finality. This person here, Gemini, or anything that you have in Gemini, ascendant, or Mars, or Venus, or what did I say, Sun or Moon, you're saying, you know what? I will continue down this path, but then continue just once again. So there's something really, really fast happening in your life, because how this goes with the speed in tarot, the fastest are the swords. I mean, it's a debate between swords and fire, but I would say the swords are faster because thought is fire and air is, thought is faster and air is faster than fire. Would you agree with this? Would like to get your opinion. To me, that's kind of like how it works in my head, and that's kind of like logic that I'm utilizing. So then we have the swords, and swords are also connected in tarot with major arcana. So when you have the major arcana, which is like commandments, you must do that. There's like no ifs or buts, so there are no majors here. But then the first gateway to the minor would be Ace of Swords, which is like the fastest card. It goes sharp, it cuts you, and it's quick victory, like checkmate kind of a thing, right? So you have 2 9s. So something is really, really happening fast. And after the swords, it's wands. It's the fire. So it's earth, it's like air and fire and earth and water. So it's the hardest is because of buoyancy to go through water, right? So remember how I said 9s are bookmarks. So you're finishing something, you're going into something else, and the something else really culminates really fast. So this is really telling me, and finishing very fast. This is telling me that you have been dealing with a situation several times, and that you already have like your way of dealing this, like you are very goal-oriented. This is like extremely positive card, extremely. Even these 2 cards can be interpreted together, but technically they're 2 different sentences. But if I look at them together, then I would say you're fighting for something. There's some goals that you have your eye on. They're like something you're heading toward, right? However, you're blocked. You're blocked everywhere, and this is creating you sleepless nights. This is creating you worries, and it's just weird. Like, this was like my day yesterday. This should have kind of like come out for me. It was just a freaking nightmare yesterday. But this is the card that kitty cat, I don't know if you can tell, she's blindfolded. So people say cats like to climb the trees, and they do in the nature, but only if they're practiced. But did you ever see them coming down from the tree? Like, always they're very concerned how they are going to do that. Good morning, Chris, right? Well, Chris, you have to go to our WhatsApp page, and that's where you get reminded. Like, if you don't come, you will not know. So now cat is blindfolded, and if the cat is apprehensive leaving the tree, like, imagine how it would be if the cat is blindfolded. On top of that, this is not easy to land. It's not like you're going to come down and you're going to just land. But there are all these swords, and it can be injuries. Generally, this card suggests that there's the gaslighting. There's somebody blocking you going somewhere. So, concrete situation, you're going out with somebody, and let's say you have some discussions, you're kind of having blocks because there's like some kind of like clearly willingness on your part to clarify, to discuss the situation, to move forward. But then somebody is not cooperating. Somebody is not doing what they said they would do, what you hope them to do. So that could, for example, mean that you're dating a person, let's say you're a woman, and you're dating a man who is claiming he's separated or is leaving his wife. And you got suckered in that type of relationship because you were naive and trusting. But now, 7-10 dates later, you're realizing, wait a minute, he doesn't even plan to leave his wife. And what am I here? I'm a lover? I'm a second fiddle? No, doesn't work for me. But at the same time, you're like now emotionally engaged. And you're still thinking that you have a dog in the game. And so basically you're not leaving, right? You're not leaving, you're stuck in the situation. That situation is causing you lots of turmoil. This is not a good situation. Swords are very, very harsh lesson, especially for somebody who is not a sword. But luckily you are air, so for you it's going to be a little bit easier than it would be, I don't know, for... Mind you, it's also not easy to wave the sword in the water, so that's not much effect. That's why it's neutral, air and water. But this is talking about... There are like issues. It could be also bills. It could be kind of like how you process things. Something is not fitting. You're really trying to figure out the situation. Hello, Saint Gerard. How are you? We have California in the house. Guys, tell us where you're coming from. It would be really nice. Anyway, I wanted to clarify these two cards, and the 4 cards came through. Look at that. It's pretty much what I was talking about. We have journey, and then we have reunion. Well, then we have the room, and then we have faithfulness. Hello? So, you want to move forward, just like it's here, right? Journey is a really good, positive card. You want to dance this dance with this person. It could be also a person showing in your life. It could be goals, but it could be a person for whom you're not sure what you think. But this person is somehow otherwise engaged. It could be another person. It could be that he's always keeping them busy with the other stuff, and you cannot claim their time. So that's all possibility. But then there's a reunion. So this could connect here and saying, okay, something happened and you decided not to end it, to kind of like continue, but you said it in your head, you know what, this is the last time. After this, I have enough. So I can see here there's like some kind of like rekindling, there's like some kind of intimacy, there are some kind of promises of faithfulness, which brings to the surface that maybe there was like unfaithfulness in the situation, or somebody is unfaithful, because this is being vowed here. This is kind of like being announced, and you're not really believing that. This is like why you have all of those worries, like you're maybe worrying what somebody else is doing. And you know what I always say, you cannot play poker with sweaty palms. They will all know that you don't have a hand. You just cannot do it. The whole idea of relationship is to be cool enough, but also to be vulnerable enough. And it's kind of like that little kind of like game. So, my dear Gemini, it's going to be a temporary situation. Also, we don't have major arcana, which means nothing is quote unquote being karmically done. You're not being quote unquote ordered to do something. But it's a situation that is creating lots of discomfort over here. But good news in this bad news that they rendered, and you know, I would not lie to you. I tell you what I see. I can sugarcoat, but I don't wish to, because if I sugarcoat, you are not going to. When you have a minor arcana, you can prevent it. You can even change it. And if I sugarcoat it, you will just, this will be happening. So what you can do now that you know this is coming, you can be more demanding in kind of like proving. Okay, you're saying that you're going to do this. Prove it to me. Like, I mean, like, you know, what do they say? The talk is cheap kind of a thing, right? And that's, I think, the attitude you can take. Otherwise, you're just going to be stepped on one more time. And this is not the point over here. Okay, so I don't see, I do see, we got only one guess. Virgo. Where is this? Did I lose this? Did you not, Barbie, put a Gemini? You did, and now I don't see the other. I see. Okay, so I don't see any other guesses. You guys, please put the guesses while I am reading, so that way you can we can go faster, I guess, right? And sorry I didn't get enough sleep. I had really rather night from hell last night, so I'm a little bit tired, but I am also feeling very intuitive. I'm getting messages, so that's no problem there. We have Virgo, we have Aquarius, Aquarius, Taurus, Aquarius. Oh, Aquarius are popular. I can't wait to see Aquarian thing. Kind of like, I have Seven of Swords happening in my life right now, just to give you a little bit of insight. So I'm opening. Who got Taurus? Barbie. One round of applause for Barbie. Barbie's guest, Taurus. I'm going to put the next one here. So Barbie gets her card. So let's see. What is the message? I know that you're behind me, so that's why I always take this in account as well. You're maybe 20 seconds behind me. So if I get another Taurus, oh Barbie, this one made me pull it up. So we have the Knight of Wands reversed. So that's hard because people are hard to interpret. So you might have somebody in your life who is not reactive. You might have, oh yeah, you're right, icon change. Icon change is going to be Taurus next, but for now I'm just doing the Barbie kind of like thing. No, I can do it now since I'm going there. It almost looks like, first of all, the Knight of, let me just tell you what Knight of Wands is. Knight of Wands is like that interesting person that you really want to just talk forever, right? So I know that Barbie is an air sign, so air signs generally get that nourishment from conversation and from interaction with somebody, right? Versus let's say earth sign and water sign, that will be more holding hands and kind of like sharing meals. It's kind of like connections are just being generated differently. Fire signs go with let's do something, let's play golf, and that's kind of like activity. So the entire Bachelor and Bachelorette series is made on that combination of these things, if you really look into kind of like psychology of it. So this is that person that would be a really, really good fit. There's like something that you want to kind of like do with this, and it's really fast. And it's also, when I tell to women, it's not having a staying power, but it's bringing change. So it's kind of like that summer affair. It will be one night stand. But this one is reversed. So this person is deceptive. This person is telling you that he's going to or she's going to do something, and it doesn't do it. So Barbie, there's like some kind of warning. Maybe somebody's dropping the ball here. That will be simple explanation, which means that you need to kind of like ride their back and tell them to do stuff that you need to do. Or somebody is telling you some BS, which means that if you're getting some information which is really important for you, I would just double check it. And that's kind of like would be my reasoning. All right. There's like a next one that you can guess. It's already here. I'm going to start with the stamp, and we are going to start Taurus. Do we have anybody here who has this Taurus really prominently in their charts? Please let us know, because you are also bringing your own energy over here. This one did flick. I honestly just got goosebumps over here. So we have Seven of Swords. Oh, here it goes, the first major arcana today. And then we have Knight of Cups reversed. The Devil. This is going to be toughy. Let me have a sip of coffee and let me think, how do I explain this? You know, one of the things when you're doing the readings, as much as I do, I just see the cards and I don't have to put them in words. I totally know the feeling and I go with this feeling, right? Oh, that's right. Chris is Taurus rising. So this is a story. Let's go fairy tale. This is a story of sleeping on a switch. This is a story of deception. This is a story of a person who really believes in love, who really believes in romance. But ultimately, something is going to be just, what is it called, that story? Cinderella. You know how in Cinderella, she was relegated to cleaning the house because her father married somebody else. But that woman that he married had her own 2 daughters, and these 2 daughters were pretending to be high society, and where she was basically the only quote-unquote royalty in the family, but she was a servant at that stage. So the sisters are now invited to the ball where Cinderella is preparing them for the ball. And that could be that night time. That could be them later trying to squeeze themselves in that glass shoe, right? This kind of like could be that part of the story, because the moon can indicate that La Luna, it's moonlight. In moonlight, we don't really see properly. Shadows are creating images in our minds, and we get scared to be left out in the dark, right? We are afraid of the like high, quick emotions. This is like usually conscious and subconscious, and they're like not, they're on the opposite sides. You kind of like don't even trust your own judgment. And here, like, I mean, it's being chained in a situation where you really don't need to stay. You're overstaying your welcome in some kind of like a thing, right? So this is also 9, but this is not necessarily a bookmark because it's a major arcana. These are really, really important. Like the moon deals with past lives. So what is happening in your life, Taurus, is something that has been done in a past life. And maybe that some promises have been made. Maybe you met this person. Maybe it was unfinished business. That sort of things. Because this is deception. It's deception in emotional field. Somebody is making promises and clearly not doing them. Somebody is doing the talk, so somebody will tell you, but I love you, I want to be with you. Next thing you know, they don't contact you in 2, 3 weeks, 5 weeks or something like that. But I do love you. It's just the actions are not corresponding to the words, kind of like a thing. But this is even worse than, the words are there, and the words are done to manipulate in 7 of Swords. It's really interesting because this is moon in Aquarius, and I think the next moon is moon in Aquarius, right? Full moon in Aquarius. So this, actually, let me Google when is it full moon. Next, that will be, I guess, in August. I guess it's not going to be anymore August, and I'm going to tell you exactly when it's August 11th. So that's Sturgeon moon. So something coming up to it's usually plus minus 4 days when it comes to full moons will be really coming to the surface at that stage. So be really careful on anybody sweet talking to you at that time, because the moon is telling me you are going to be suckered in and you're going to go into the next cycle. So because this is a past life, you might be drawn to kind of reconnect with a past lover, with somebody from the past. You might romanticize this whole connection, but they're kind of like drawing you and wrapping around you and kind of like squeezing, like you're like so open to everything, but they're really taking advantage of that. This is really, really interesting. So look at this hope. I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking this is you, that you're like really trying to be hopeful, and maybe there's like somebody who is educated, and maybe you're connecting with this person through books. But look, these two cards really just wanting to get as kind of like add-on. So hope is really nice, but hope is also a little bit like a moon. You kind of like get lost in space, but I always love hope. Without hope, we have nothing. Would you not agree with this, right? So this is why I also like the star card for the same reason. This is about anticipation. This is about waiting. This is really believing in positive outcome. It's almost like you are like looking for the things to confirm that you are making the right decision if you really wish, right? So events will be looking like they're turning in your favor. So there's like something between 11 and the 19th of August that is going to be very, very important, because if you really look at this card, she is also blindfolded and she almost looks troubled. I don't know if this is like some kind of like, no, it's not lyra. Like my astigmatism, I don't even see it. It almost looked like it was a musical instrument. No, but when I looked at it, there's actually a chain over there, right? So she's sitting on some kind of rock or on some kind of hill and kind of curling into that fatal position, if you really think about it, right? So this is very personal for what she's going through. So the blindfold, it's that inability to see outward. So she is focused inward and she's facing, so she should be facing her own fears. It's somebody playing like, I mean, her worst fears to her, right? So this is also clairvoyance, because this is connecting to the moon and it's connecting to the past lives, right? So this does talk about his previous disappointments. This could be also there's like something still residing in your head. You know, sometimes when we have unfinished business. So maybe this person here was the person from before, and this is why this is coming to the surface. Are we going into Mercury retrograde soon? Because it almost like sounds like one of those situations that will be happening over here, right? So it's really important that you are resolving something, and maybe once for all with some person, or maybe this is just a karmic connection. But that I see here more connecting to the devil. This is kind of like being on guard. Soldier is always keeping secrets. So there's like maybe a person who is not really transparent, right, for you, and you would like to know what is hiding behind it. It's kind of like that's really intrigued. But it also talks about relationship, just like in a combination with the devil and the child, relationship that will need to be defended from the outside, right? That maybe somebody, maybe you are the one who is serious, maybe you're very protective of this relationship, but you are not feeling that this is corresponded to you, or the devil, and this can signify Pisces, and they can signify Capricorn in a situation. Maybe it's just simply a blunt message like that you're having Capricorn or Pisces connection over here. And be careful with your budget. Be careful with not being kind of like taken down the garden path of some sort, right? No, full moon, Kylie, when we go to the sun sign, the sun sign has always the full moon in the opposite sign. It can happen twice, I think, at the most, if it's some early. And so basically the full moon would be in Aquarius, right? So let's say when you're going through your Sagittarius sign, the full moon would be in Gemini in a situation. And this is always done to kind of like balance things out. So that's how you have to go look all the way back to January, February, when that sun was making transition and those seeds have been made. And maybe you can go live from January to see what position we had then and what we needed to kind of like deal with, right? So that kind of like would be important. So no, the full moon, the new moon would be in Leo, not in Aquarius, but full moon is in Aquarius. So let me remove this Taurus and you guys can keep guessing. So let's see, we having guesses: Aries, Aquarius. Hello, Lorna. Cancer, Scorpio, Aquarius. Okay, so let's see. Just give it 1 second of the little clearing. Welcome, at least that's my understanding. Oh, look at that. Chris, hello. Good stuff. Okay, so we have Cancer. And I am going to draw the next one. I'm going to still wait a few seconds because somebody else might throw in their hat. So this is the, I keep getting two. I'm going to just grab one for the next one. And let's get this for Chris. And this one really wants to come out. So you're getting 4 of Cups. Look at how really lovely in this card is. So they're like collecting flowers and really focused on that. Usually this card is really kind of like bland card. It's talking somebody who is bored or who is boring, right? But not in this case. The only thing that is happening very, very prominently in this case that, and you can see this person under the tree. Is this a person walking? I don't know if this is a person walking. I really cannot tell. It almost does look like, it's almost like in the Chinese uniform, there is somebody manning the field there as well. So they're like people, there's a group, there's like outdoor activity here if you wish. This also looks a little bit swampy. Can you see that? Like you see like the vegetation here looks like usually with these big leaves, it's usually always water produces the kind of like the big things. Then we see the water here, water here, water here. So this is talking about this emotion that is kind of being experienced. And they are collecting flowers, which is the fruit of somebody's labor. But there's like neither satisfaction or dissatisfaction or boredom that I can pick up in this card. However, this is coming out of nowhere. It's coming from the cloud, and not a single person is paying attention to it. Nothing. And this is the most important thing. So there's like something, Chris, that you'll be turning your back, or I would just say you need to open 4 eyes. You need to listen to sentences, like rather try to listen more than talk, and kind of like deal with the situation. So 4s are always about control. Maybe you want to have some emotional control over here. But if you try to make emotional control, you're not going to have vulnerability needed for you to be open. So just keep this in mind. And it's kind of like important message as well. All right. So who are we doing? He gets Cancer. So let's do Cancer. I think I am kind of like doing okay with time. So Cancer, oh, I need to put a little icon for you Cancers. Let's do that. Did I put it? I thought I did, but I didn't. So here we go. And let's do this. I tried this Vedic astrology, and I think they go by ascendant, and my ascendant was Virgo there, and it just like never resonated for me. For any, I think it's Saint Gerard. Is it Gerard or Gerard? I'm like so like mixing my French in to the point that my English is getting affected. It's so weird. Not to mention that my Croatian got affected a long time ago. So. Cancer. Cancer. I have a 3rd date with an archer this evening. Okay. So keep in mind that you're not missing something. Maybe she's going to be expressing something and you're not going to pick up on it. And that can be misconnection. Usually it's like those nuances. But 3rd date is important. Like that means if the 3rd date goes, then you actually technically going in a relationship, right? I usually go first 3 dates. I don't know what to think. Oh, who is this? Who am I reading? Cancer? No? The spot? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So 8 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 10 of Swords. Well, Cancers, I would not like to be you. There are going to be lots of issues. So you put certain things together and then you're like exposing something. Either somebody's taking something away from you or you're accused of taking something away. There's a situation where nobody knows what's happening. There are like some loose ends over here. It is happening. And ultimately you're feeling that somebody's backstabbing you. So this shows your intentions, and your intentions are there. They're really nice. But somebody feels that you're in a way. I'm going to be very, very clear over here. So we don't have a nines or something kind of that I can denote it this way. So we have 16 and 7 is 23, 33. And 33 is a master number. 33 talks about relationships. It talks about diplomacy. It talks about finding the best words. But I am guarantee you that you will be getting nothing but shit. 10 is also talking about being backstabbed. 8, this is being told somebody's taking something away. 8, inability to kind of like make a motion, to do the action. They're like outside factors. Maybe somebody is blocking you. Maybe somebody's involved with somebody here. This can be interpreted because there are 2 8s, as there are some kind of commitment issues of a sort, and maybe that you are feeling that you're being betrayed. This is not necessarily cheating. This is more like a betrayal. And betrayal is, let's say cheating is like somebody's going with another person, but betrayal is somebody says, you know, I just can't spend this weekend with you. I have to help my mom. And then you find out the person was out partying with the friends or something. So that, it's a small level of betrayal. I get it, but it's just like, why was this needed? Like, you don't trust me enough to be truthful with me, right? So here we have this like 10 of swords, which I never like to see. As bad as these cards are, which are talking about our inner feelings and our inner insecurities, and now somebody even emphasizing them, this clearly shows that all the worst fears are coming true. Well, there is luckily some good news in this card. Not the greatest good news, but it is saying at least it's over. At least you know where it is. At least you cannot go deeper. At least you're going up. It's the only way to go. So let me just try to get some comprehension over here. Yogi goes, it cannot get much worse for Cancer. Yeah, it actually can get worse if they had major arcana, if they had the devil, or if they had the judgment reverse, that would be way, way worse. So it's still saving grace. This is a 33. Maybe Cancer is asking you to nourish relationships in spite of everything, because there is like a bigger picture in all of this, and that's kind of like what is very interesting. Ouch, Moon in Cancer. Ugh. So let me see. There is a gift. Oops, they're just flying. And then this is like despair. I think I would take it as reversed. Melancholy, and then this one was jumping, and then reunion. Yeah, because this card is always, I really have to tell you, when I do the readings of the people, and I don't know how much you guys know, if you got a reading with me, I don't ask any background, because I can see what the background is, and that way you know that I know my stuff. But usually that tells me, this card, that there is like a situation that is not clear. There's a situation that somebody is not telling the truth and guiding you down the garden path. And it's usually we go willingly, and that's why the combination with the devil would indicate you're going to get captured, you're going to catch yourself. It's like, you know, the jungle thing, and you fall in that hole and it just like pulls you all the way up. There's no way out of it, kind of a thing, right? So there are these 2 cards about feeling really disturbed, feeling really, really, it says desperation. I think it says disperaciones, to despair, right? And it's like this depression right after. So gift can be that it's not happening, because the 7 of Swords ultimately talks about theft. So this gift and theft, something is taken away, or you felt that you were supposed to get something. So the gift doesn't have to be of a physical nature, right? But it's connecting with this despair. Despair is reversed, like not necessarily because the cards are reversed that actually they mean better, but it really would tell me that this is something that gets interrupted. So it tells me that you have, I mean, you are also Cancer, and Cancer has this like swords, and I know that it's like not easy to yield sword in the water. It's not going to have the same impact as you cut somebody in the air, but nonetheless, this is not your territory. You're a fish out of water in the situation. It is really, really difficult, right? So I think that this card also sometimes talk about jealousy, and this card also talks about mind games, and that somebody's making an impact on you. But I kind of like see, because it's reversed, that you need to think about what caused it. Were you maybe too nice towards somebody? Maybe they have expectations that you are not capable or willing to give, or you are expecting that somebody's going to give some expectation or do something and it's really not happening. There's like something about that envy, jealousy, mistrust, kind of like a thing over here, right? It could be also sadness. It could be unreasonable behavior and somebody just flying off the handle. I mean, I had some situation like that that just happened, and I just didn't know what happened. And that's what happens when you're dealing with with a person who is codependent, right? So I had my air conditioning breaking down, and I called this guy who installed it. It's a heat pump, right? And I said, like, look, this is a new pump. We just installed it in January. It's like 6 months old now. But isn't this kind of like ridiculous that we keep fixing it? And this is the fifth or sixth time. So how about replacing it with a unit that is not lemon? He lost his shit. And I was thinking, like, what's wrong? What is in it for you? It's going to be with LG, not with you. And he was just losing his stuff. I just couldn't understand it. And then the next day he kind of like pulled himself together and apologized, but I honestly didn't know what's going on. For a while I was like, oh boy, there's another nut, because I, as 11, I'm a magnet for nuts, and it's frankly getting to me. So this is that explaining this reckless or irrational behavior that are not necessarily jealousy kind of a thing. So that could mean altogether there's some kind of confusing situation. Somebody's not telling you the truth. There's like some nervousness. There are like falsehood happening, right? So this is a warning for you guys not to act, I guess, impulsively or inappropriately, right? So there is like reunion coming in the end. So you are getting out of the situation. You are getting into like fending ish. Like, remember how I said you just can go up. So it's going to be lots of bad words. It's going to be lots of harsh words exchanged. But I really think that maybe this means that you need help, and maybe you need help in tackling problems with your loved one. But let's be candid for a moment. If you're Cancer and you're listening to that, forgive me for being a little bit judgmental, but I was married to Cancer, so I have 2 cents to say. We are still in touch. We are kind of like good with each other, but oh boy, Cancers process things very emotionally. They feel things very long. They remember things very, very long, right? So just keep in mind that kind of like stuff do happen that way. So you can sometimes go down that, like, rabbit hole and just lose yourself in your memories. So don't injure yourself. If you're like revoking or thinking like all memories, maybe you're just doing this damage to yourself. So just don't go and play badminton, go on the beach, like just please do something else, because these are after all minor arcanas and you have ability to stop it, and they're going to be developing really, really soon, kind of a thing, right? So let's see. Knitting Yogi. So we have the new one. So I'm going to have a sip of coffee. I'm going to put this here. You guys keep guessing. What do you think this would be? So this is going to be the 4th one. Where is my coffee? Oh, I'm almost done. I need a little bit of onyx to absorb it. This was like so many swords flying around. So this is that full moon in Aquarius. Things are coming to a head of some sort. So what are you guys guessing? Aries, Aquarius. Any more guesses? All right. Well, we did read Leo, so that one is still in running. I'm taking the next one. We are getting Sagittarius. Sagittarius is going to go next, so we don't have takers, but I'm going to take the card for the next one. I'm going to put it here. So this is a usually really, really good stone for absorbing any negativity, any harm that is coming our way. So it's good to put it in a window. It's good to put it at the entrance of the home. So anybody who wants to check in and have ulterior motives is kind of like going to be stopped with this. I like to keep it in my office because when you read for other people, you're picking up a lot of their stuff. So this way it absorbs it for me. All right, so Sagittarius, let's change the icons over here. Here we go. Put a timestamp. It's right on a dot, 1 hour. So Saggies. It's almost like a binary code that I'm seeing here. 10010. It's kind of a cute. So let's do it. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. So now we are talking about another fire sign, and this is like the trine. So we have a Leo, we have Sagittarius, we have Aries, and all of these trines are affected when one of these signs are going through their sun transit. So it's almost like if you ever watch Star Trek, the beam of light, that it kind of like going in that pattern. As you know, the trine is Trinity. It's kind of like very godly. There are messages, and they're like your brothers and sisters in this trine. So let's see. Oh, look at this creative guru. She just has a really timing today. Okay, so we have Four of Swords and Queen of Wands, which is you Sagittarians. This one might to be coming out. It's again Swords. Ugh, I'm already seeing August pattern. This is not good. Maybe it is heat. I don't know, guys, where you are. I cannot even go out. This is how hot it is. It's 40 degrees Celsius. It's really, really, really bad. I just want to get one more. And I got two more. So I got a Knave of Cups and I got Nine of Cups. Well, guys, I am starting to realize the pattern that we are probably all going to have in this transit of Leo. And it's going to be zigzag pattern. Like we're going to have one day good, another day, oh my God, what happened? Like, why can I not have like 2 or 3 days kind of like together to pull things together? But like, I mean, to be honest, even though you have like these holes that you're falling into, some of them are deeper. This one is a deeper hole. This one is a letdown, but this one is like you are like moping around. Like maybe this also just means that you are overworked, that you need rest. To me, this is a big R&R, kind of like a card, right? Fours are generally about being in control, and this is like understanding that you need to nourish the physical and mental, and you are doing that by sleeping, because we know sleep is a natural healer, and the more you sleep, the more you heal. Of course, there's like a thing is overdoing it, and then overdoing it, it's almost like it's a very circular thing. So if you overdo it, you go back into that depression kind of like a stuff. I know the swords always come very cold, but I guess because I am an air sign, I don't mind swords, because swords always bring harsh realities. But swords also bring clarity, right? The Ten of Swords is like the end of a cycle. Maybe there were like ups and downs happening, and clearly, Sagittarius, you're riding this way. Like there's this big kitty, you know how to play your cards, you're not putting all the cards on the table. You are not getting scared or being scared, no matter what is happening to you. But sometimes you're grasping at the straws, and that's what it is. That somebody really sweet, or appearing to be sweet, or appearing to be flirty. This can be a child as well. But somebody's also not coming through. Somebody is saying things and not doing them. Talk is cheap, right? Actions value, you should actually value actions. So you should ask for follow-ups in order to know. But it looks like that you don't want something to be final here, and it's almost like it's some kind of like a compromise, if you wish, of a solution. And if nothing else, it is making you temporarily happy over here. So that's why I see this up and down. So okay, I need to rest. Oh, okay, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm all good. Oh shit, what is this happening? Okay, sweetie, I trust you. And then you take your glass of wine or whatever, right? And kind of like kicking your feet up and relaxing. But like none of that here is a major arcana, so they are not big obligations, they are not big lessons, but nonetheless they are irritations. And what is really good thing about swords, whenever we get those bad swords, they don't last. They just go quickly. They come quickly and they go away quickly. It's almost like and it goes away. Like, you know, this kind of when you jump in cold water and then you have to start swimming and it kind of like goes away. That's kind of like what I see over here. So let me see a little bit of clarification. Oh my gosh, 104 Barbie. It's just too hot. And imagine my AC didn't work when like this started to kind of like do it. This is when it broke down. I thought I would just go insane, right? With all of that. And it's a new one. And it's like $6,000. It's not, it's just like Jesus, right? So, and water. No problems there. Well, it's kind of like nullifying each other in a sense. It's like ships in the night, kind of like. It can be admiration for each other because, oh, I wish I'm more like that. I wish I'm more sensitive like that. And then they are thinking, I wish I'm more kind of like factory. Like everybody's wishing for the parts they don't have, not realizing you already have everything that you need to have for this lifetime, kind of a thing. So here we have a bundle of things happening. So this one is money, but it's reversed. The money issues. This is sweetheart. This is clearly if your guy's a female that is relating to you, and it talks about, it says haughtiness, but I always see this as a pride or lightness. Well, pride more or less. And then we have consolation. So that's clearly reacting here. And actually, honestly, I think this is how they go. Usually I kind of like, I interpret them in addition with cards, but I think they are really literally lining up. So you might feel, guys, my dear Sagittarius, a little bit like a yo-yo going up and down and up and down. So these could be money worries or could be just like some kind of like budgetary issues. This is really interesting card, but this is also about secrets, if you really know what I mean. So there is like no person in this room. It's a very old-fashioned bank, if you really think about it. So there is like a key in the door of the safe, which is open. But we see not only money that do have some, what is this showing? 225,000, 1850. Really interesting. The big bag with the money kind of like on it. But we also have books over here. We also have some stuff happening. So you have to wonder, are those some kind of like investments that didn't have stocks back then? And plus this is all reversed, right? Because if this is upright, this will be talking about inheritance or winnings and luck, but this is reversed. So this can talk about some loss of money, and that can be due to gambling or money just spent in vain, and then you're really regretting. You order something you really like, you know, Amazon, and they send you something from China. Oh, this is nothing like described. What is this? And then you have to return it and going all of that. So it could be just simple as that, right? Because you are really quickly recovering. Like you're not on a secure footing in this period. I really have to be honest with you with this. You need to go and refer back to the Leo's reading, because that's going to give you a little bit more information, because we're going through Leo transit. And I would also advise that you need to be really frugal. This is really time where some decisions that you make can indicate some financial malfunctioning, if you wish, or that you're depleting savings or making just simply poor investment choices, right? I also think that this is now indicating a period of few months, and I would say that whatever is now, it will be really culminating in a couple of months at the end of September, just before we get to Libra situation, and which is kind of then back connecting to the swords, which is also making me think that you are trying to balance yourself, and maybe you're balancing your books from what I see. So both of these cards are cards of vanity, right? Peacock. Like Peacock is gorgeous, whether he's having all these feathers, the tail open or not, right? But Peacock ultimately, like, I don't know, did you ever see flying peacock? I did, but they don't fly very, very far. They just like simply just jump from a roof to roof kind of a thing, right? But this is like the vanity. This is like about lack of humility or showing off kind of a thing. So maybe you're meeting somebody and there's like the arrogance that you really mentioned to you before, and now this is simply confirmed. So that, for example, can suggest a situation where I don't know, you're maybe perceiving yourself in an overly positive light, or somebody is trying to perceive show themselves in a very positive light. um, I would just say inability to acknowledge somebody's mistakes or somebody's limitations is going to really play a role here. It's almost like fall from the grace, if you really wish, over here. This can even talk about you being very popular. You're enjoying very suitors. After all, whenever is the sign going to these trine signs, you become very visible. Even if you're like with the messy hair going out, somebody's going to pay you a compliment. So this is lovely, but you should not take things for more than it really is, because also some pride can cause things to fail, and something is not being built on a proper ground over here, right? So just be careful that ego is okay, but it has to be kind of healthy ego. And I really think you guys going to do okay, because we are seeing both Nine of Cups and Constellation. And this is one of the loveliest cards in this whole deck. It's kind of like a guy who is just sitting and having his morning coffee, reading his morning papers as a really gentleman. He's fully dressed in the morning. Boy, did we kind of like change that in a couple of centuries, right? I just have like a whole bunch of pairs of leggings, and pretty much like anything else feels uncomfortable. But he has this angel approaching him, and angel has money, and what do you call this? Is it bay leaf kind of a thing, right? So he's saying, hey dude, do you want a power or want a money? And he's like, oh, what did I do to deserve that? Nothing. I just feel like it, right? So it's kind of like something like a lucky break. And that kind of like makes up, because you're Sagittarius, you're ruled with Jupiter. Jupiter is a luck planet. So this is like your lucky star. You get in poo-poo like most of us, but you immediately are being rescued. And this is kind of like stuff happening here. You are just jumping back on your feet, right? And I don't know, maybe there are pains of love, maybe there are pains of something, but this is turning the page clearly. Relationships are now enriched, but almost like you're looking like, you know what, I'm fine, thanks, I'm fine, give me my martini, I'm just fine, kind of a thing, right? Because this is telling me that there is some kind of pleasant surprise happening, and that news is going to be positive in the very end, but it's going to be very sudden and unexpected. This is almost like the Tower, but in a positive way. This is like, whoosh, something happened. Like you know, like when you go to the airport and you're waiting for a plane, and then somebody tells you, oh, by the way, we double sold your spot, and you're like, what? But then they upgrade you to the first class, and say, oh, well, this is kind of like nice, right? So this could be unexpected gift, this could be unexpected honors, it could be, I don't know, a meeting or event, but it could be something that's also providing you opportunity, because you're doing this on your own, and you're kind of like really, really enjoying it, right? So it's almost like a beautiful dream that becomes reality, right? So if you are a firm believer in your ideas, I think this is going to be even more prominent, right, for you over here. So even though you have a fall for grace here, clearly like falling on your own swords and feeling ouch moment, this is going to be just a one brief day, maybe even hours, that's going to happen, because I think you need to look to the future with optimism, and you need to be able to be open and accept all the changes that are coming through. So yeah, but you're like kind of like very light in all of the situation. You're not kind of like grasping firmly and taking the bridge down with you because you're holding on to it too kind of hard. No, this is kind of like really different thing. Your neighbor is literal peacock. Oh my goodness. Oh, dandy, I think they used to call that kind of like type of a person if it's a male. So guys, keep guessing. Well, I am doing the shuffling, putting a little bit of crystals on it. So I think this is one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, one more. And then we are going to get the doors, I think Barbie will call it. So let's see, let's remove the thingy here and see which one will be next. And who is guessing what? So we have Aquarius, we have Libra, we have Pisces, and well, ECAT, it looks like you're getting your way, And Knitting Yogi is getting her way because you guys are delayed behind me. So let's start with this. But Aquarius is finally coming through. So ECAT, you were first. They're not dandy, just really arrogant. Well, to me, dandy is always showing the arrogance. They're always like, preppy. And when I was skinnier, preppy was my style. They always told me like, oh no, you must be doing it. It was just my style. Well, now that I'm bigger, like I don't have style anymore. So ECAT, you're getting 9 of Pentacles. This is a really comfortable card. It doesn't have anything exciting in all of this card, but like everything is right. This woman is enjoying herself. So it's almost like there's like beautiful summer day and you have a beautiful flowers in the garden. So you just go there and you're just enjoying every single thing you say. 9 of Pentacles talks about comforts. So talks about knowing that you're on the right path, enjoying the fruits of your labor, enjoying money. That's kind of like where kind of like I see this happening. And it's also positive. It's also culmination of something. So if you're hoping for something, this is now coming true, and especially if this is happening on the financial level. This, in terms of relationships, talks about somebody being independent. And I consider this card really important in the relationships, because if you don't experience this, you don't know how it feels being on your own. If you don't know what it takes to be on your own, then you cannot make a good couple, because you don't have that survival skills whatsoever. So you'll be either misled or led, and you would not know really how to handle the situation. So this is a really good card in more aspects than one. It kind of like does show maturity of a sort. So let's put that Aquarian head. Oh no, let's put the Knitting Yogi. What am I talking about? Knitting Yogi is next. Let's do a shuffle. We had 2 winners this time. I just want to do crystals in between 2 readings quickly. Do that. All right. So Knitting Yogi. What Knitting Yogi needs to know right now? Ooh, you are getting the Judgment reversed. So Judgment reversed, Judgment is talking about past lives. Judgment is always bringing to our attention that we have made promises in the past lives, or look, this is like a call of a trumpet calling, come here, you have made this decision, you're going in this direction, right? There's like something here happening that is kind of like indicating I don't know, the fact that you need to kind of like deal with certain situation. So Judgment almost, to me, Judgment is a karmic card, because when it comes to karmic issues, like we are living every single life to learn new things and also to clarify situations. So usually we go from one life to another one, just switching. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Even within the same lifetime, we are kind of like going through all of that. When this is reversing, it can talk about poor or hasty judgment. It can talk about some stagnation. It can also talk about self-doubt. You have to keep in mind that this is a planet ruled by Pluto. So it does have the Scorpio connection over here. It's something going very deep. In this case, really, really deep in something that you have done. And this is the tricky part. You kind of like in this life, they scramble our memory, but we still have to work on this past life issues over here, right? And we kind of like sometimes don't even know what it is, right? So it's a very, very important card, Yogi, because generally it suggests about rebirth. So for you, you need to clarify something that you are right now able. You'll be encountering circumstances in your life that will be kind of like clarifying this for you and kind of like dealing with you. But you really definitely need to kind of like deal with this, right? How I would do it, it will be meditation, or I don't know, quiet contemplation. And that's how you need to arrive to that deeper understanding of that universe or themes weaving through your life, kind of a thing. And also what you need to change or to even avoid those situations. This also is the card of secrets when it comes reversed, because maybe you fear how others may judge you, right? So in order for you to clear these past mistakes or regrets, and maybe you have some guilt, maybe you have some shame, you need to work on self-forgiveness and self-acceptance, self-love, all this stuff, release and freedom and that kind of stuff. So Yogi, you roll up your sleeves, you have some work ahead of you. Okay, so Barbie is right. We are going to do the Aquarius first before we go to the doors. I almost forgot. You're taking me off my rocker, Barbie. And I am forgetting this all the time. So let me close this so I can shuffle the cards. Where are these guys? Voila. All right, guys. Think of a question. Yes or no question. And I'm going to pull the cards. You're going to be guessing one of those cards, and that's going to be your answer. Okay, I think I have number one. Let's see, number two, and number 3. Here we go. Let me open this for everybody to see. Put a stamp. Yeah, because I'm notorious in forgetting to put all of these stamps. So let me see. So guys, what did you guess? And in the meantime, I'm also going to put the new one that you can guess for after the doors here. After Aquarius. I love cat. Oh, Barbie, you're so sweet. Kylie 3, Ikat 2, or love cat. She's sleepy. So let's do it. Number 1 was 2 cards, and it was 2 majors. It's the High Priestess, and it is the World. So High Priestess is reversed, and it means that you didn't have a good read on a situation and something is being resolved, right? That's kind of like where we see things happening over here. So the World is a positivity, but the positivity and the resolution only comes through based on the fact that you cannot trust your intuition here. It's very important that you kind of like go in a logical interpretation of it, because something here that you think is happening, it's really nothing happening at all, and you might get yourself into trouble. Either way, no matter what you do, the things is getting resolved and it's coming on a firm footing. Then number 2, we also have Major Arcana. We have Strength over here, and that's big yes. In fact, this card really talks about positively, especially for the questions about commitments, and that would be yes, kind of like things are happening, moving forward. And the number 3, oh my gosh, look at this, all Major Arcanas. What are the chances? What are the chances? And I was like shuffling them that way. And so this is Hierophant, and this is oh, look at him, and there's like the bird being released, offering peace. So this is a marriage card, so this is a relationship card, but this is also a card that suggests that we really need to take the path of a higher self, and it is going to be very important to do things that are all above the board, and that kind of like we can deal things that way, right? So it looks like there are pluses everywhere all along. So we still need Aquarius reading. I forgot it, but I forgot Aquarius reading. Look at me, I'm freaking insane. Okay, so that's what happens when you don't sleep. Let's put thanks Barbie. Look, I cannot forget my own sign. Apparently I'm even able to do that. So let's do it. Let me have a sip of a coffee and get to my, actually it's not coffee at this stage. Knitting Yogi will give me shit for it. It's a Diet Pepsi. It's like so hot outside. I need something bubbly. I asked if the Judgment card had to do with my Cancer X, and the answer was yes. All right, Aquarians. And I put the wrong stamp. I'm going to put a new stamp here. Let's do that. Otherwise, people will go, she cannot even put her stamps right. What's wrong with this woman, right? So, Aquarius. Aquarius. Okay, you pick 3. Definite yes. So you feel some guilt. You need to clear some karma. It sounds like it. Aquarians. Let's see. Aquarians. So we have 3 of Cups. I just don't like this card. Whenever I see these cats dancing around a grape, which is very toxic to them. But then again, just being attracted to something that is really not good for us, it can just simply mean that. Then we have the Moon. Which way? I'm going to take it this way. Then we have the Lovers. And this one wanted to come through, which is the 8 of Swords. Of course, we had to get some crappy card here, but that's okay. To clean this for a little bit. So, this is the first one that is getting a major arcana from the readings today, which is really interesting. No, actually, no, somebody else. Or was it you, Chris, that had... Somebody had a moon. I remember a moon. Somebody did have majors. So this is really interesting. Again, so this is 3 of Cups. And this is a cup. So this is like emotional. And this is the air, right? So whenever we Aquarians get into this emotional state, we get flustered, we run in circles, and we are not able to communicate with people while we don't sort things out. So how are things being sorted? Things are being sorted. It's also past life connection over here. This is not karma card, but certain things are coming to the surface. It could be from somebody we have been really close and connected, and there is like a situation that we don't have the clear path. We don't really know in which direction to go. And it could be a situation that involves the friend. To me, this is the ultimate friendship card, right? But this is mirroring this 8, and it's again 8 and 3 is 11, which is talking about some issue, especially if you Aquarians is 11 sign. So immediately you have this 11 karma, which attracts people and circumstances, and that's why they call him humanitarian. But ultimately we use this life as a cleanse of all the garbage that we did previously, that we want to fix for the others and for ourselves. So this is that already karmic influence there as well, right? But in addition, we also have the whole thing coming down to 8. And 8 is like kind of like being on the ball, kind of like doing the target, going through all of that, and kind of like handling the situation that way. It's really interesting because, again, like, I mean, they're almost like 2 different kind of like readings in one, but they're like clearly related. Because this kind of like talks about being lost in emotion, and this talks about no, you have to be very clear in what you want. You have been there, and it looks like by sorting things out, you're realizing that things are not sorted out. You're realizing that lots of things still need to be looked under the covers, under the stone, and kind of like there is somebody who is not telling us the truth. So 8 of Swords is like, I need to ask. 8 of Swords is when you're afraid to ask. Honey, are you married? And even if you ask, they'll tell you a lie. And even if they tell you a sweet lie, you're still not going to believe it. And that's even creating a bigger problem, because there is that gaslighting. There's this problem that is really, really creating more and more problems, kind of a thing, right? So let me see what additional information we can get there. So guys, don't forget that you need to check it's a must, check your sun sign, check your ascendant, and check your moon sign. But also, I am not reading monthlies anymore. I'm reading transition of the sign, and this time is a Leo. So the very first one that I read, Leo, is going to be very much connected to this reading, or any reading of any particular sign. I guess I have to say it in every sign, because I cannot assume that everybody is going to be like you on live and sitting through all of it. But the advantage of being on live is that you guys are actually getting messages from every single reading, because your little antennas, and from these antennas I am getting all this energy and the read. And the better mood you are, the more kind of like comes through. So what? Nothing is coming through. Can we get any clarification? This one wanted to come. So this one is service. Okay. That's it. Service and prison. Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's get one more. And then a child. That's weird. But prison is also a weird card. It talks about being stuck in a situation. So I think this is kind of like how this is aligned, more or less. So this is the key card. This is the one that we really don't like. This is not the one that we don't kind of like, would not like to be in, right? So this is a situation where if you really look at him really closely, he has his face in his hands. He's, I guess, crying. So it's a prison is a place of punishment or despair or loneliness and also confinement, right? So this is guy also in chains, who is in prison, and he's kind of like cut off from the world because we see the bars over here. But he's really well dressed over here, and I don't know if he's crying, maybe he's feeling remorse, maybe he's feeling regret. And then there's this picture, like, which kind of like you're wondering, what the hell is this doing here in the picture? But this is kind of like symbolizing what is needed to survive that confinement or loneliness and solitude, right? So there is like inability to break free. That's why I'm connecting that to this card of some sort, right? This can be related to actual punishment or justice, but this more or less can be related to, I don't know, like some emotional or spiritual conditions. It can simply talk about taking time to meditate, but I don't think that much is true because it's not supported by the other cards. But this can also talk about there's some kind of stubbornness, and somebody is not willing to move to that stubbornness of some sort, right? But it's also telling that the condition or circumstances are not permanent, that is only a temporary state, and once then the sentence is over, the person will be free, and we see this new beginning over here, right? So this is about closure. Maybe like a lover is letting us down, and that's why we feel stuck. We just don't know how to find solutions, right? This is just simply about taking responsibility and acknowledge any our wrongdoings, and this is kind of like setting us free, because this child is coming through, and there's like child, it's a little innocent, it's a new beginning in all of that. It's a positive card if you wish, right? And it's the meaning of new, so that's kind of like initial part of any life event that is really happening, and it's kind of like that little is the key word over here, creating a new life wherever that life is. So yes, it could be literal pregnancy, but it could be, let's say, beginning of a love story or fulfilling or a happy marriage of some sort. So I would say that's something that has constrained you here, and that can very much relate to somebody you are dating or related to, or somebody that stems from the past life, that you have this really connection, and you're thinking, well, I would get rid of this person. Why I'm not getting rid of this person? Because there is like that cord that is kind of like really linking you, right? So now when those prejudices are being dropped, I think here's that accepting this new element in your life, right? And kind of like feeling it, kind of like really enjoying it. So something is going to flourish, right, in or near you. So just, I would say, approaching situations with innocence, and I think maybe this is the judgment that needs to be shed. Like, after all, we Aquarians, we are air sign, and judgment is the part of our makeup. So this is like telling us, okay, just practice without it, and just see what can happen without it, and be open to things that can happen. So this was like interesting reading. It could be also on the heavy side if you wish, but let's see, guys, what you're guessing next. Work related, had an interview for a new role. It wasn't clear about some things mentioned in the role. You need to clarify every single detail about it, and you might not get a complete clarity. But not getting a complete clarity, did anybody mention when is the next transition of Mercury retrograde? Because it kind of like sounds to me that we might be in the shadow. Let me just Google that. Let's see, Mercury retrograde. Let me see what are the dates. almost sounds everything, keep calm. No, give me the dates. Just give me the dates. No, it's starting in September. So, okay, if it's starting in September, what? I just saw it. September 9th. So, yeah, its shadow is going to be on the 15th of August. And that's why I was picking up some readings at 15th of August that could be interesting, right? That's where this comes from. And then on 11th of August, we have full moon in Aquarius, and these are kind of like things kind of like taking a different turn all of a sudden. So, okay, let's remove this. I don't need this anymore. I see the guesses. So, Capricorn, Scorpio, Aries, Virgo, Capricorn, Scorpio, Kylie. Congratulations, Kylie. So, let's check. Kylie, what she's saying. Kylie. What Kylie needs to know at this time. And this one wants to really, there are two, they want to come out. Three. So you have the Judgment upright. You have Nine of Wands, and then you have One of Wands. It cannot get more phallic than this, Kylie, right? But it's reversed. It's really weird because this would suggest cycle. This is talking about cycle. This is talking about cycle. And guess what? Ta-da! This is talking about cycle. So it could be menstrual cycle, it could be life cycle, it could be cycle of codependency, it could be cycle of whatever that kind of like needs to stop. So Nine of Wands is you're saying to yourself, yeah, I'm going to try one more time, but there's like certain disillusionment in this whole situation, and then this new situation doesn't spread up. So this could be possibly not getting this job. Could be possible that you are just disillusioned with it. Maybe it involves having trouble. Maybe it involves something, because this is a no-starter. Like, you don't have the bricks to kick the fire over here. But it's all good. This is kind of like coming to you to save you, because you are having this Judgment upright, which is basically clearing your karma. But something karmically is happening, which means that you will emotionally feel it. It's going to be there for sure, right? So the retrograde lasts until October 1st, but then you add 3 weeks before and 3 weeks after for the shadow. All right, so let's put Scorpio here, and let's put a stamp here. Okay. Your moon is in Libra. Okay, so you need to check also. Did we? Yeah, we didn't have Libra yet. Scorpio. Scorpio. I've been feeling that. You're welcome, Kylie. Let's see. Oh, there you have a Scorpio moon. Let's see. Scorpio. Scorpio. Just a little bit of fan. I think the temperature is starting to, because I stopped fans not to interfere with, because then you hear the weird noises. So we have Knight of Wands, we have Four of Wands, really interesting. Holy moly, that's it, Scorpio. Has to be special. But look at that, Seven of Swords is showing up again. So, flirtation with somebody, going to the next level, but then the romantic part is not being maintained. You feel betrayed. There is like Judgment cards showing up over here. There is like a clearing of a destiny here. This is like no ifs or buts about it. And it's weird because if I only got these 4 cards, I would really interpret them in a very different manner than I would interpret them now with having a major arcana plus followed with Ace of Pentacles. So this means you are stepping on a firm ground. You're clearing things out. You're free of some responsibility. And I was just reading some works of Dolores Cannon, and she had lots of thoughts on that karma in a private past lives. I don't agree with all of it because I do lots of karma readings. I do lots of past life readings. And I do not notice there that we live parallel lives. It could squeeze more information there, but it would be more or less like sending a message to somebody saying, can you carry this message somewhere, that you're communicating through somebody, because she really believed that we live parallel lives. So that means you can be, that would explain twin flames, that you are seeking somebody, but that would almost mean to me that you're only half a person, that you will be so utterly unhappy, and that would explain bipolar. But anyway, she basically stated, and I agree with this part, that we make sometimes pronunciations or promises, especially when we come to the end of a relationship and we really want things to work. Oh yeah, you're gone. You really want to love you, or it's going to last forever. Especially when you make wedding vows, right? Until death do us apart, and then 2 years later, right? So what I agree with her is that we making this kind of like statements, and then they're coming to hunt us because karma is taking them seriously. It's almost like no sense of humor. Well, you said that. Did you not say this? Yeah, I did, but it kind of changed. No, it cannot change. So we need to take them back. So Scorpio, because you are like that Mariana Trench of emotions in the zodiac, you can go as deep as possible, where most of us would just never survive, or we don't are in interest to go there. Because look at that, there's somebody who is willing to be on the surface, there's somebody who is very playful, who can be a fire sign, but it's kind of like something that was really meant to be one night stand, but it's turning into a relationship. And it's not doing well because it's not fulfilling your needs. You actually feel betrayed. But you shouldn't feel betrayed because they given you what they can give you. They are expressing, this, like what they call it, love languages. So this is completely a lack of communication here happening. But you, at this stage of your life, you need something on your terms, because look at this water, water, water here, which is connecting to you. You need something on your terms. And you have all four elements, which means the balance is there. So there is the clarification. Maybe this person was that messenger from this parallel lives, as Dolores Cannon said, and now you're putting things on the proper ground. And when this is done, it's time to go and time to see and find yourself, kind of a thing, right? So that's kind of like how I see it. Let's see if we get any more clarification. So I see, Creative Guru, you find it sidereal better. I was just saying, that Vedic is, it's so weird, because when I look at the sky and I see the planets, it's just like what the Vedic says, but none of that stuff resonates with me, not a single time. And plus they have this weirdest stuff that I think I was told I need to marry to get rid of some karma, and then the karma would be over. Well, I didn't marry and didn't get rid of the karma, so I don't know what to do with this anymore. But something, I don't know, something was connecting. You know how they have these boxes and they're looking at things different. So we have a letter here. We have melody. Let's go one more. And we have messengers. So letter, messenger, letter. So there are like some kind of communications, and I think it will be more like text message or something. But this melody to me is connecting with this. And again, like, don't you guys think that when we communicate via text messages, we always get in trouble? It goes out of proportion. You get tired, you say the wrong word, then you have to spend like another half an hour backtracking. It's so much easier. But I guess you can tell I'm like Gen X. You can kind of like pick up the phone, but like if you call people these days, you called me, you perv, kind of a thing, right? It's not a thing anymore. But that's, I feel you can pick up this emotional things, and you can kind of like deal with this, right? Kind of like how things are done, right? So yeah, like Creative Girl, like makes no sense for me to get married to release karma. It was something that I cannot fulfill my destiny until, because there was something that was very negative in my chart, and they said usually it's released when you get married. So even that beautiful actress, I don't know what her name is, not Priyanka Chopra, the other one, a little older one, I forgot, she was being featured in 60 Minutes as the most beautiful woman in the world. She's Aquarius as well. She apparently married a tree before she married her partner, because she had to be married also to release it. And that to me, This is like too much in the left field for me, kind of like to understand. So what do I focus on here? Do I focus on melody? This could be that you're getting like this disappointment over some situation. I kind of like don't pick it up as something overly concerning, because you have positivity here. You're going to be pampered of some sort. But this is like about heartbreak. This is about betrayal. This is about some, because this is connecting, right? Here, clearly. There's something that is incomplete of some sort, right? So you need to take a break. You need to step back over here, right? So I guess the clarification here says that there is something that is sick, right? There is something that is resulting in suffering, or that is maybe requiring some time to pass before, you know, you can start with recovery, right? So that malady could be, I don't know, physical, but it can just simply refer to that situation that we have here. So maybe there's like some kind of like bad behavior that is could be due to your behavior, but can also be to the other party, right? So kind of like in a love relationship, that probably would interpret like, okay, this relationship is being shallow, which I see here. For you, it's shallow because you cannot go surface. You are like water sign. You cannot surface in the fire. Water and fire kind of like deny each other, right? And this person cannot go in the water. So you always say, oh, come to water. I said, no, I can't handle it. Oh, come to fire. No, I cannot handle it. So this is kind of like the thing, right? So the communication is kind of flawed. Maybe there's some misleading or confusing. So this can also kind of like interpret as, oh my gosh, it's always kind of like running in circle. I never kind of like can get a hold. And I think this kind of like makes sense. This is why you're saying, you know what, on the surface, on the paper, this might looks okay, but I need to figure out if this is the best for me. And that's what usually Eight of Cups means. All the cups are there. Look at that. All of them are here. But Kitty's still leaving. So why is Kitty leaving? Because, hey, I want to try to find out if things are better. So ultimately, you are kind of like doing that, right? So let me see. Hello, Joanna. Okay, so I am a Capricorn, but I have a lot of Libra and air. Do I read Libra more? No, you take everything all the time, right? So you need to check everything. So I know sometimes it's very conflicting. So, and this is like also not completely resolved. Some astrologers will tell you that the sun sign is the most important. I would kind of belong to that kind of like belief in that group. But others will tell you that ascendant is pretty much what you live your life with, and that you only fall back to your sun sign. And that's the whole point of sidereal astrology, that you only fall to your main sign when and if the trouble strikes, or you need to kind of like release some karma and that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of looking at that in a more, I guess, pragmatic way, just simply looking at the universe. Okay, this is the Venus affecting us on this side, this is the Mars affecting us on this side. So one is, and it's also like Venus is very toxic. I don't know if you know that just 30 years ago they thought, oh, we can live life in Venus, but Venus is like so toxic. It has this acid air that nothing and nobody can survive there. And kind of like it looks like almost that maybe even Mars have been going through that kind of like situation. Now it's just that planet, right? But so looking at your Mars, looking at your Venus, I guess you need to divine. I was talking a little bit about these planets, how I look at it. So the most three important parts is ascendant, the sun sign, and the moon sign. And they're kind of all equally important on different things. So the moon is important because it talks about emotions. The sun is important because it talks about your attitudes. And ascendant is talking about because these are challenges that we have with the other people. So I guess depending on the situation you're in and what you're looking at, how you're going to interpret that. So guys, hopefully that helps, right? But this was not really a question, Barbie. I get it what you're talking about. So it was more or less, hey, what do I take it seriously? Do I take the sun sign or sign? Because the question, you can ask your own question when we get the signs, and that could be a really good time for you to say, hey, when I hear readings from Kat, do I take the sun sign or the moon sign, kind of a thing. So the next one, we are now that you're behind. Let's say we have Capricorn, we have Virgo, we have Capricorn, and we have Aries. So I think Chris, if he's still here, We're going to see what the Aries energy is going to be. So I'm going to put the next one here. Welcome, Joanna. So let's do remove the Scorpio. It's really interesting that Scorpio is followed with Aries. So this is telling me about a little bit of Tower moment, if you really wish. That's that Mars. So we will see. So let's put a stamp over here. All right, Aries. I'm still looking what you guys putting in because you're behind, but I still didn't see Aries. And if I made an error, you, Barbie, need to put down when you hear me saying Aries or opening, so that way it's kind of like it's the line. It's cut off. It's cut off guessing. So Aries, oh my goodness, it just like fell down, a whole bunch of it. So again, it's kind of group think over here. So Aries, you have Queen of Wands, which is you. So also I need to tell you, you need to look at the first reading, which was a Leo. We are going through Leo transitioning, and we kind of like are going to be influenced with that reading as well. Lots of things happening because you're having a Queen of Wands and you're having a Queen of Pentacles in the same reading, right? Then you have kind of like going back 6, 7, 5, right? 6, 7, 5, 3. So there's like some kind of like pullback motion happening. This could be two different people, but they're both in a positive kind of like houses. They are both very important. Both of them could be you, whether you're male or female. One is more talk about organizing thoughts. Another one is more or less talking about organizing household and things that are going through the household and how things are being processed, right? So there's a little kind of emotional aspects, and you're feeling a little bit nostalgic, I would say, over here. And it's really, really strange that nostalgia is coming from the past, that you wish how things were. And usually that is nostalgia that is prominent with elderly, which is kind of like happening in those situations. But I don't see elderly. I just see there like something happening. There are some lessons being learned. There are also past lives coming to kind of like play a role over here. This is very unusual reading for Aries, because Aries are usually plain readings, kind of like they're like really child of the zodiac. So it's child that needs to be disciplined, child that is very doing whatever they want. That's why they have this aggression, because the child is aggressive. That's why they cry very much. So it also depends, because Aries covers everything from the birth. The birth itself is Pisces still, and then it switches again going forward with so the moment when your child kind of like is out becomes Aries, but up to that point was Pisces, and it goes all the way up to, I guess, beginning of the school. So it just depends which stage. Are you in the screaming child mode, or you're kind of like coming just a little bit later where you already learned to sit and eat and wash your hands and go to bed and dress up. That's kind of like where it talks. It's really interesting because it's all ending with the moon, which goes back to your pulling back in the uterus. You're pulling back in this life back, and this is also pulling back, and this is also pulling back. So you're pulling back, but you're coming out. So it almost looks like Aries at the situation, you don't know if you're coming or if you're going. There is a situation here that involves women. There are women in the situation. It could be a third part situation, very clearly, that you don't know what to do about. So you could be the one causing it, but and that's actually more likely interpretation, that you're the one who is on the receiving end. But there is like somebody very unhappy, and usually the Hangman to me always talks about punishment is not a good word, but talks about needing to see things from a different perspective, needing to comprehend what the other person is doing, right? With Hangman, you're doing everything how the other people tell you to do, but you are not in prison. You are doing that purposely because you want to understand certain situation better. So for you, you're saying, okay, I seen it, I done it, I did it your way, and I still don't like it. I still like my way better, and you're leaving. So it's almost like a full cycle, if you wish, from kind of like what I see here, because you are ending this with the moon, which is not only 9, but this is again like, so moon is the beginning and the end of our life. So it doesn't go like this literal slices. So you start the life with Pisces, kind of like transition, and you end the life with Pisces transition, and that's why it connects to the past lives in universe, and that's why it's interpreted this way, because this is the path going through the life, but these are all these interferences that we have, that we kind of like meet on our path. So let me just see. Yes, Sag got Queen of Wands as well. So that's again like this, like the trinity between between Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. So that's clearly there's some support. You might have a girlfriend, and you might have a friend. This could actually be a mother as well, Queen of Pentacles. It could be a boss. That's kind of like the roles these people play. But there's like clearly nostalgia. This can be also children of some sort. But this card is really kind of like feeling of square peg in the round hole, that you really don't belong, of kind of like on the way. So let's see. Okay, this one wants to come out. Ooh, it's love, and this is a love card too. It's really love that doesn't have to be present, you know, like, I mean, you can just close your eyes and feel the connection you had with a person in the past. And sometimes this card talks about the universal love as well. And here we have a melody and young woman. Love hurts, literally, and then young woman, and that can really connect over here. So the young woman can be a child, a young woman can be you. It could be that nostalgia. If I have to start again, I would do things differently. But again, this is a little bit of the jealousy. This is a little bit of things happening, which I see it here. This can also talk about the third person, even though third person could be the case if you're man, heterosexual male, and that's kind of like what is happening here. But if you're female, then if you do have a counterpart, that counterpart is almost like equally important as you are. So there is like not much, and this is not what you kind of like. So keep this in mind. Whoa, you really guys wanted lots of cards. It was like, look, I need to find out and just tell me, and I need to know all of it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So it's 2 more guesses. You can guys start guessing. Or is it 2? 1? No, it's 1 more. 1. Yeah, it's 1 more guess. No. Yeah, 1 more guess. Because then it's going to be too easy to guess. So this is the last one, guys. Last guesses. I'm going to shuffle a little bit. So what do you think this is? The very last one. And let's remove that sign over there. If I put it, I did. So let's see. So we are having Capricorn, Capricorn, Virgo, Capricorn, Libra. I'm going to put it for the next one, but no more guesses because we are at the end of a road. And we got Libra. We got Kelsey getting her a read over here. So I'm going to wait 2 more seconds. Maybe somebody else threw their head in. So let me start reading for Kelsey. Let's get your card, Kelsey, here. What Kelsey needs to know at this stage. And you're getting a Chariot. And Chariot is really a card about goals. Chariot is a card about not relying on advice of the others, but listening to yourself, making decisions yourself, kind of like moving things forward, right? It's also like very spiritual card because the Chariot is boss of all knights in tarot, but Chariot is also Cancer. I don't know if you can see they have the Pharaoh brooch over here. But what is really interesting about these cards is that they are going in their own direction. So he really needs to pull them together with sheer will, right? Because he has one hand busy. Technically, even the rain should not exist in this card. But I don't know if you can see the stars. There is that spirituality really happening. It should be the sun, which in this case is tiny little sun, and the Leo. They are kind of hidden kind of like symbols over here, and should be also yoni and lingam, showing that sexuality here as well. But what is really interesting for me in this card, it's kind of like follow the regular kind of like interpretation, but what's really interesting is the carpet. The carpet has been rolled. So somebody is getting honored, and I don't know, this could be related to your work, it could be advancement in your work, it could be going in a new direction, but you're clearly in a power situation over here, and it's kind of like lovely to hear it. Okie dokie, so that was enough with guessing, and congratulations to all the winners. It was just absolutely great, and we're just going to finish this now all. Let me just put this Libra here, and then we're going to finish everything with another doors when you can ask your own questions. So let me just put a stamp. So, Libra. What do we see? I have a Libra rising. I guess I have Libra rising as well. Welcome. Rising. Can you tell me, Libra, and all these people who need to hear this message, what's coming through this month? Look at this, there are no jumpers. Libra is like, yeah, no messages. Oh, there is one. Ooh, we have the stars. Stars, not only star, but stars. And look at this, like my kitten stretching over here. Libra. Ooh, we have 9 of cups. What is this? Ooh, we have the moon. So we're going from 17 to 18, and this is also 9. This is a 9. And then we have the Hangman. Oh my gosh, 3 major arcanas, Libra. It's a big deal. That is a big deal. So this is really interesting because everything is positive, but it does have caveats included in it. Again, you also are dealing with some karmic things. It will be interesting, like, I mean, where to figure out in which signs the moon appeared, because moon is connecting with his past lives, and I was just explaining in length to how to look at the positioning in life. But this is where it becomes really interesting, because now it is basically linking to the Hangman, and when the moon links to Hangman, it talks the past lives need you can only access them by kind of like really listening, opening your ears, participating in a situation not on your terms, on somebody else's terms. So for example, where do I see the situation? I see the situation, for example, where there is a cheating in the relationship, and now the couple is going to a therapist. And a therapist's role is not to just make determination of guilt. It's to glue relationships. So you need to re-energize them, this feeling of connection. But this feeling of connection can be only re-energized if there is trust, if there is a way that you know that the person is going to do or say things that are comfortable for you, right? So that sometimes requires transparency. It's kind of like, look, you have to show me all of your websites, all of your emails. I need to have passwords, because it starts with really kind of like wobbly ground. And that's what Hangman sometimes tells me, and I would definitely think this is what's really happening in the situation. Also keep in mind that Hangman is God. It's one of the few cards showing God. The Fool technically is God, but it's kind of like still a creation of the God, you know, the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. But this is literally God saying, okay, like everything is upside down on this planet. What's going on? Well, let's see if I do things that humans do, kind of a thing, right? And the moon is like the transition. You're going from that other side, whatever it is. For you, could be heaven or hell, or you know, or it could be just simply the universe, the energy. And like now the cycle is going through this process of this world where they're like kind of simply different way of how we approach the situations. So this is a caveat. To get this out of the way, it's telling you like it's time to dream. It's time to put you on a pedestal. It's time to kind of like go in a new direction, my dear Libra. Something is here, reason to celebrate. You're going to be cracking, like, champagne open or wine, whatever it is. You had some hopes and dreams, and they're happening. And you really have to, and that's what's telling you, you need to be careful about the next steps. You need to be careful and check all of the stuff, because this is one of those cards that tells you that there is uncertainty, right? Because of the shadows in the moonlight. It's a really clear moonlight, but this is, look at how weird this is. It's almost like petals falling or something falling down. The dog is basically barking at it. Cat wants to reach it, but only the lobster is going to find a way. So don't lose yourself in illusions, kind of a thing. And the pragmatic way to the solution is to do everything as told. So be very cognizant of that. So this is actually the key to your happiness. That's how things really need to work out. So let me just see what additional cards we have for this. This one wants to come out. So we have a scholar. Again, additional information. Listen to somebody educated. And there is a cheerfulness. There is, again, raising this hand. So there are like two women and a man. So there's some celebration that you're sharing with somebody. So if you're a woman, it will be another man and a woman, and vice versa. If you're a man, there are two women, and there's like kind of like something is finishing, which also is the moon thing. It's talking about kind of like crossing that finish line. And we have the wedding. And the wedding, clearly, yes, it can literally mean wedding, but it can also talk about contracts as well, right? Because keep in mind that wedding is only romanticized now in the last, 20 years. And before that, it was like, oh, we are merging these families. I have a daughter, you have a son. Oh, look at that, perfect, right? So it's something important. It talks about new responsibilities, but this can also talk about loss of independence, because there's like some rules and regulations that are happening right over here. So this, to me, it's suggesting some kind of like pivotal moment. It's kind of like, and this is you, Libra. You're always kind of like trying to balance it, but like once when you strike, oh boy, you strike, right? So this is a significant new beginning or undertaking, right? If this is a matter of love, guys, because here this is kind of like you're really happy on your own, kind of a thing, but that would suggest true, sincere karmic love, and represents significant meetings or partnerships that are kind of like being forged right now. So I would say celebrate. Something good is happening. Enter into this new situation with confidence, but make sure that you are educated on the situation first. So, woo! I think this was the best reading so far, don't you think? Libra has the easiest, the best time, but also Libra, for your information, you're not going to be able to maneuver quite a bit. There are majors, and majors usually drive you. It's automatic driver. You have to go through it. No way to fix it, accommodate, or negotiate with karma in the situation. So that's kind of like important here to know. All right, moving forward, we are now guessing right now. So we have Virgo and Capricorn left. Well, Virgo, Capricorn, and Pisces. So Pisces goes first. So let's see. Let's change this sign here. Let's go Pisces. So since we have lots of moon, which is connecting to Pisces, it's going to be really interesting to see what else. Why am I seeing Libra there? Maybe it still didn't switch on what I see over here. Just want to make sure that I switched it. That's kind of like hard when you're dealing. Oh no, that's why it's showing, because I clicked on something wrong. It's much easier solution. Hi Mahendra, how are you doing? So let's go Pisces. Holy moly, it was just massive, kind of like coming through. It really didn't come through. And here we have another one of those swords. Oh my god, there is a tower in the house. Look at it, 9 and 2 is 11. Blindfold, oh my goodness. So you are rushing the situation that is turning out to be disaster. Do we have any Pisces in the house? And look at it, it's beginning that you're thinking you're doing really well. Then we have also the Chariot over here that we read for who? Kelsey or somebody, right? And we have like 2 peacocks over here. So you see there are no rains over here. So it's like cat knows you're going this way. It almost looks like there is like a little wand here, a whip kind of getting through. But Chariot is always about clarity. Chariot is always kind of like going to the new stage in your life. It's like that proverbial trip kind of like that you are going through in your life, right? So it's good, but Chariot doesn't necessarily signifies relationship. It's always somebody who kind of like has a mind on their own, how they can actually, they really want to do things on their own, right? So that's kind of like where things can really kind of like work this way. So it's a control, it's a willpower. So there is like motivation to do something, but at the same time there's a freaking headache. So maybe you're having a really big project over here that you want this success, that you really want to go into it, because you are entering the very iffy territory of doubts, of people being naysayers. It almost like sounds to me you're entering your own business and you're very enthusiastic, you're sharing with others, and everybody is just knocking you down. It's just like simply, oh, you know, this can happen. No, I know this has to happen. But this Chariot here is standing tall. There's like no sitting down for this person, right? It's all about taking action. It's all about moving forward, right? So that's kind of like this canopy of all these stars about. That's kind of like suggesting that connection to that celestial world and this divine will, right? And that's this duality that we see here with those peacocks, and there's duality here that is really happening. So this tells me that, my dear Pisces, that you are not, and Pisces is also duality in itself, like they're like 2 fishes flying, swimming in different directions, that you're going to tangle yourself in so many knots, and that's why you're going to experience Tower. Tower is saying, no, this is the end of the road. You're not passing through. I'm not letting you pass through. And the Tower is a very shocking moment. It's kind of like when your whole life changes. There is like that aha moment. It's not pleasant, but it's now the time to rebuild. So let me see what else I get here. So despair. So it could be a jealousy, it could be a doubt into yourself, and there is like servant, and there is love. And I think, okay, I know what is this all about. Pisces, this is a test if you learned to trust yourself. Because in life, you're going to have paths that are going to go up and that will go down. In your case, this path is getting to the buckle up situation. And if you get scared, if you try to jump off the ride, you have failed this lesson that you're supposed to go through. Even the Tower is the lesson, how you handle the dire circumstances, if you wish. Because look at this. You get through it and you get love. You know, it was this, it just crossed my mind. Recently, I was on YouTube Googling, and it was this guy who was pilot going through Bermuda Triangle, and he's talking about being caught in a cloud. You can Google it on YouTube, and this is a true story. And this cloud somehow didn't have the ending, and he felt it's closing on him, and he was completely disoriented. His instruments didn't work, and he was flying toward Miami, and suddenly he saw this exit out of that cloud and zoom right through, and he saw these instruments coming back at his stage, but he felt in that coming through, it was just kind of like a push kind of like happening to him, right? Because in that area, usually these airplanes are just disappearing, and he was really concerned about that. So he is contacting the Tower, and they're telling him, oh, you're just about to land to Miami. He said, well, wait a minute, this whole trip is taking, I don't know, whatever, 1 hour, 40 minutes. I have been only, what time is it? So he passed all this trip in like half of the time or third of the time, so it just didn't add up. So he was trying to figure out what it is. And that almost like sounds to me like that there's like this vortex of some sort. There is like the universe, and you're being pushed through the situation much faster. So there is like something that needs to be worked out. There is like some higher lesson in that, but you're kind of like saying, okay, let's get over with it. It's almost like a test. You need to do this test, and like after that, even if you do not pass the test, you need to be loving both toward you and to the others in order to kind of like move forward from that situation. Really interesting reading Pisces. Like, of course, something mystical comes when your sign comes through, right? Alrighty, so let's see who is the penultimate. The penultimate is this one, and it's gonna be Capricorn. All right, let's put your little thing over here. You're just before my sign, the Aquarius. So let's timestamp. Of course, I have to wait for you to come through. And then the last one, sugar comes last, as Germans say, it will be Virgo. Okay, so there is something connecting to me in this reading. I'm getting this message because it's starting on 2:15, 2:15:00. It's a timestamp, which is my birthday. So there is something in it hidden. You know how I said every reading is bringing messages? So bring it on. Let's see what it is, what we need to know. Okay, Capricorn for your transition. Let's kind of do it. Let's see what we need to learn, what we need to do. And it just popped out. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. We have Three of Pentacles. We have Ace of Swords reversed. And this is a karma card. And it just like feels like it's being crushed toward me. And Queen of Cups. So these two cards are connected in tarot, right? This card is actually one of those rare cards that in a lower enumeration, it's more important than this one. And they are adding to 11, and there is a new process starting. So again, there is an element of sacrifice over here, but there is also element of some karmic lessons, almost like universal psychic spiritual lessons. So you are going to have psychic abilities, and I think you might have issues with your friends. It's going to be something that is going to be brought to your attention over here, and I think you might be cutting some friendships off. I really think there's like somebody here, Queen of Cups. So Chris, you're Capricorn, this is Scorpio. What do I say? This can talk about this was a cut over here. Maybe there was like a request to you stopping to do something. But this can also talk just like simply straightforward future. It doesn't necessarily have to pull in the entire story and the entire past over here, right? So the karma card, the Ace of Swords, is always talking about like this is the fastest card in the entire deck. So that fastness, something is not happening. It's almost like, you know, when you want to sneeze and it doesn't happen. It's just like, oh no, it didn't happen. It's just like a letdown. It can also kind of like really create issues because maybe something was agreed, something was feeling good, but then ultimately something doesn't happen anymore. And there's like a little kind of a confusion, but there's like somebody appearing over here who is very gentle, who is very feminine, who is very encompassing. It could be like a little bit of that quote-unquote motherly love, right? But when it's reversed, it's really interesting because this card is so powerful. They're like very, very different in attitudes. So upright, this will be you winning. There's new ideas, their breakthrough, their mental clarity, success. So of course, when this is upright, we don't want to see reverse. But the reverse is actually yes, it can be definitely cloud of judgment, so you're not seeing where you're waving that sword, but it can also talk about needing to assess your, I guess, inner world and inner clarity and kind of like deal with that in kind of like that situation. So this is actually your key card here, even though there is a person over here, so maybe you need to be really clear on what you want, because this is really talking about decisions and how you're really going that situation. So there's like some kind of like new idea or breakthrough. Keep in mind, this is you're Capricorn, you're like Earth. This is kind of like showing over here. It's really asking you to get better in some subject. So this is the card of expertise, and this is the card of somebody doing expertise. So something new will be there that you need to kind of like learn. Maybe there's like some kind of idea that you're going to take more seriously and pursue it. Maybe you're asking for greater clarity about, you know, why is the life handing you like the kind of like sets of cards. Sometimes, just sometimes, when it signals that this is not happening, this is not coming to fruition, right? Especially not in a way that you hoped. It's maybe time to go back to the drawing board. And these two cards would actually tell me that there's like something taking you back. Also, that can mean that you have too many ideas on the go. That would definitely mean if you had Chariot showing up, but we'll see the stuff. So I guess I would say set yourself some specific goals in order to move in that direction. Let me see, what else do we have in the way of clarity here for Capricorn? So we have, there you go. You need to kind of like clarify and learn things as well. Conversation. It's going to be lots of people. You will have lots of people around you in this period. It will be groups of people, 3 or 5, and they'll be contributing their ideas. So you really in this one, death, or maybe you're just tired of conversation. Maybe you're tired of learning something. Maybe you just want to feel. You just don't want to talk. Maybe this is all that is talking about. This death is kind of like scary card over here. Look at how plain it is, like compared with others with a whole bunch of details. Kind of like it's just emptiness, right? Kind of like that you think, but it's upright. So this means rebirth of some sort. So that means renewing a relationship, possibly revival after the emotional period of blandness of some sort. It can talk about changing your job or profession and moving in a different direction. Maybe you have been bitter. Maybe it was hard to accept that something is over and now it is time. And maybe you're opening yourself up to be this loving person. So this could be you, or if you're male, it could be somebody coming in your life. So any of these possibilities could be coming your way, my dear Capricorn. And we have Sugar coming last. We have Virgo. I will need to tighten all of these things just to make sure that they are shuffled each and every time in that little baggie of mine. Just let's do that. So just I can show you that this was like all the signs in the pocket. So it's going to go from Capricorn to Virgo. Do we have anybody left here with me, or I'm just talking to myself? I do have some people left. All right, and this should be Virgo. This should be Virgo. Okay, so while this is all being shuffled, I'm going to put the sign. I'm going to wait a little bit. I did put Virgo. Well, I'm losing my mind. I'm going to put this back in a bag for the next time. And the next time is going to be the 6th of August. So that's the date. I'm going, whenever I pin it, whenever I do the pin, the timestamps, I also put the next date. So that's kind of like, guys, how you can find out. When it's maybe I should also put it on a community tab now that I think about it, to make it easy for you. Because then you have to figure it out. And that's why I sent the request just the day before I was doing it well in advance. And everybody got confused. What do I do with that? When it is one day in advance, you get invite, and then you don't have difficulty dealing with this. All right. So now that we have all of it, let me put a stamp for Virgo. Oof, 22323. 22323. So this is 22233. It's also going to be a special message coming over here, my dear Virgo. So let me see, what do we have Talking Heads have a song called Heaven, where they sing heaven is a place where thing ever happens. Everything or thing ever happens. That's interesting. Still here and awake in Oz. Yes, Kylie, I know. I was awake until 4 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, I'm a little bit off. So, Libra, we have 6 of Cups. We have 7 of Pentacles. Certain things are moving forward. There is like some shuffling of the spaces. And we'll have a 4 of Wands. And of course, something had to kind of like come and put weird spin on everything. But okay, there are no major arcanas. That means nobody's going to make you do anything, right? Things are good if you wish, right? So there's like the ending of some phase that you'll be experiencing. So you need to think that we are dealing now July 23rd to August 27th. This is the transitioning that we are going through, right? So all of that is adding to 17, and 17 is star, and star talks about that you need to raise above your own limitations. You need to kind of like look up at the star and follow your star. That seems to be difficult for you, right? There's like this next level that is asking you to go there. Look at it, 9 and 4, 13 is death card. It's asking you to go in a rebirth, asking you to go in a different situation. This is 13 and this is 13 over here. So there's like this message kind of like loud and clear. If you go individually, 6 of Cups is about nostalgia. It's about looking back. It's about remembering beautiful things that happened to us. And we know it generally gets us to the sad place. We listen to the sad songs or the songs from our childhood or where we're having first boyfriends. It always stays with us, right? So you will always hear people saying the songs from my generation were the best. Yes, because they're connecting with such amazing period in your life, right? Unless you were just miserable in high school, like Eckhart Tolle. I was reading him saying, I was just miserable. I just wanted to die. I was so depressed, and that's why I got kind of like through this process, just like it was so bad. I would either die or get this enlightenment, which he was lucky to get. But look at this. Like, you guys have the tools in your chest box, and you know how to deal with this. And the tools is, again, like there's like some higher lesson, higher learning. So you're like sorting out your finances, you're sorting out things that you need to do, and that is really helping. And you're like letting go of the things that are not working. Be careful not to burn two ends, but this is like you, that you're kind of like dealing in that process. Look at this, we have all 4 different elements, which also means that things are really, really balanced. But this is when the trouble starts, when the things start to speed up for you. So they're first speeding up in Wands, and then they're going in higher speed in Nine of Swords. So that means that maybe you're anticipating certain things to happen, I don't know, 2 months from now, but things might be happening in 15 days from now. So that's kind of like can be one interpretation, that you're not ready for something, and all of a sudden you have to be ready. So maybe it's better to kind of like start planning right now that you know. So this is really, really important, kind of like to look at in this direction. Let me see what additional things I can see here. So we see Doctor, Pleasure Seekers. Oh, there are 4. There is like frivolity or the lightness of the being, and Priest. So Priest and Scholar and Doctor, to me, more or less, they're talking about these people back then that you would go for advice, and they will give you higher quality advice because they have been studying more and had a greater understanding. So you're getting 2 of them over here. So Doctor and a Priest, it's kind of like I have to laugh, kind of like, okay, who is dying, kind of a thing, right? But nobody's dying. There's like some issue, and let's not forget that you're Virgo. So what is the thing with Virgo? It's about methodical organization and health. This is kind of like 2 things that will definitely describe you. So this could mean there are like some possible kind of like health issues that maybe you're looking for doctor's opinion of some sort, right? But it's good because you're finding somebody who it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, usually when you go to a doctor is sitting down and you are like standing up or something like that. But this also doesn't have to be a literal doctor. That could be medicine man or a woman or a trusted advisor. You could be that medicine man or woman. There is also clearly a need, and I think this is connecting to this one because it talks about this need for emotional or physical healing. And clearly this is something that is anxiety because the projects maybe are not going the way you want, and this is like really being displayed over here. You're maybe dealing with three people, and the three people want different things to happen, and they are not in harmony, in concert with each other. And so that means you would really have to pin it down to what is really happening. Otherwise, it's just going to feel that nothing is hatching, nothing is really moving on, right? So this is kind of like interesting. Like, I mean, it's almost like seeking advice and deciding what to do and what is the remedy to kind of like resolve the problem. And in the process, you can ask an advisor, and then you're going through a whole bunch of issues and people where you're sidetracked, right? Because butterfly goes from flower to flower. Like, maybe you're busy around, maybe doing a whole bunch of stuff, and then again you're landing on priest, which is that values and morality and beliefs, but it's also about legal opinions and decisions and contracts. So keep this in mind, right? So maybe there's like something that is inheritance, maybe there is something I don't know, there's some kind of judgment, or there could be also maybe you're upset maybe about your health, that something really didn't work the way you really wanted. But you also can mean there's like some kind of like emotional coldness in the situation, because this man never gets, right? You don't go to priest to cry on their shoulder. They just tell you, oh, this is how many you need to pray, and off you go. It's kind of like pay for satisfaction if you really kind of like want to be really basic about it. But then this frivolity, which I hate because it has such a beautiful Italian name, leggerezza, lightness of being. But this is definitely talking about being undecided or fickle, but it to me more or less talks about being carefree, like a child. And yes, that can indicate in itself there is like superficiality and inconsistency if you really wish. So if you have somebody in your life, this could mean maybe going to the next step, somebody from the past reappearing, maybe somebody who is, I don't know, a doctor, and there's like maybe somebody who you find out there's like a third party here happening in the situation, and then you have to make a really moral decision. So clearly this is really telling me that, don't do anything rash that you might regret. And also with this, don't take yourself too seriously. Kind of like recognize also that this superficial behavior has consequences, and maybe you need to tell this to somebody. And maybe you are like playing this role of the priest and saying, you know what, I always imagine my life this way, and this is how I would like to have it, and off you go, kind of a thing, right? So that's going to be really interesting. Sorry, reading yogi, I'm just reading the cards. So like, forewarned is forearmed, right, as they say. So we are coming to the end of this. Kylie was just going to ask if you're still here, Chris, then you popped up. Have a good gut feeling that your third date, an Archer, 333 on the clock there. Wow. So guys, now you get to ask one more question. You get to ask these doors, and then we are going to go to the we are going to answer this, and then we are going to go and have our own weekend, right? So let's do it. I'm going to hide it here. Right, this is the second one. And think of the question. Okay, I have a number 1, I have a number 2, and I have number 3. So let me remove this. Go back here. Put the stamp. I'm just going to wait for this. The doctor, the doctor knitting, you're just making me laugh. So, okay, so while I'm waiting for this, let me just upload my my timestamps. Oh, there we go. It's opened up. Just give me a second. There we go. Let's go next. Here. Transcribing. Done. All right. So, door number 1. We have 6 of Swords. So the answer is like you'll be going back to something that you thought it's over, that's something that you left behind. Maybe this is talking about trouble, maybe this is revisiting troubles, maybe this is revisiting bills, that sort of things. Generally, the attitude in this card is like, I'm leaving, I need to save myself. It's a person who's maybe leaving abusive relationship. It's maybe a person who is looking to start a new life, a new world. But that means maybe, I don't know if you understand, this card is so lovely, and it's kind of like not self-evident until you kind of see it in reverse, because look, they're going through, but when you see it reverse, they're also up. Can you see that? But at this stage, the, whatever you call this guy, charioteer, is not self-evident. There is not really showing. It's just like 2 of them. So this is kind of like maybe the person. Oh, and there is an added element. Oh no, it's not added element, just in a different situation. There's this lamp reflecting it over here. But 1, 2, 3, yeah, there are 6. So what this really tells me, and especially we have also lotus flower here that is merging these 2 worlds, it's telling me that this person gains self-sufficiency, and this person is now really capable of even going in the old situation and handling them. So then we have the door number 2. Do we have anybody 2? The devil. And this is like a bizarre answer. The answer is yes, and the answer is please don't do it, please don't go there, because it's not going to end well for you. But you're going to get what you want. It's one of those things. Beware what you wish for, you might get it, kind of a thing. And the door number 3 is like 6 of Cups. So this is relating to something to the past. This is relating to girlfriends, high school, some connections that maybe somebody's the same generation. There is like some reference over here. But this is like also lots of nostalgia here that is happening. The answer is yes, but the answer is also, is this what you want? Do you want to go in the past? Do you want to deal with this? Are you sure that, like, I mean, you kind of like even have a stomach for it? But it's, while it's lasting, it's really sweet. It's almost like reconnecting with a high school sweetheart on Facebook. It's almost like, you know, something really nice happened with a bouquet of flowers, unexpected, and you feel good. It kind of like, sometimes that's all it's needed to get out of the funk or some of the energy. So for all of you who chose number 3, I actually chose number 1. So I'm kind of like really satisfied with my answer. It does make sense. But for all of you, like, you're moving forward, is something happening, just don't let the past to swallow you. Kind of like, be who you are, go in the past with new you, with new resolutions, with knowing how you want to handle your own decisions and everything else. So I really hope, guys, that you enjoyed this like long monthly readings. Next time is going to be shorter, but as I said, next time is going to be the 6th of August, and then we are going in a completely different direction. So thank you everybody for being here. I love to see you here. It's always great to connect. I wish you everybody a great time and kind of going in different directions, but please check from time to time what has been your reading and what has been Leo reading, which is the very first one. It's always the header of the reading. And until August the 6th, many kisses to everybody. You know that I love you, and I'll be talking to you then. All the best.